I was a young, cheerful, smiling kindergarten student. I had these amazing friends who I had matching necklaces with and memorized all the High School Musicals movies with. Honestly, we were going to be best friends forever. 10 years ago, I was dancing with my stuffed animals, having tea parties, laughing with those best friends, and enjoying growing up. I climbed the monkey bars, ran as fast as I could, conquered every tree around me. I was kind, willing to help others, all in all, a good kid. That is the one part of me that hasn't changed. But a lot of things have. I moved away from those best friends and came here, to Naperville, to District 204, to my new home. At first, I hated it. My parents got divorced, ripping me away from everyone I knew to start over here. First day of first grade, I was the new kid. Everyone knew each other, and I hated that no one knew me. It was my first taste of disappointment, but certainly not my last. Throughout these last 10 years, I've fallen. I've struggled. I've experienced death in my life unexpectedly. I've failed at sports, at creating good connections, at tests, at subjects. I've had times in my life where I didn't know if I'd be able to recover from my failures. I've also lost a lot of people. Either they moved away or didn't like me anymore or died. I was 11. My grandma died, and it was one of the hardest things I've had to go through. I blamed myself. I thought maybe if I called more or visited more or appreciated her more, I wouldn't feel so bad. I felt like I didn't get to know her before I lost her. I even lost faith in myself. In middle school, my mental health got worse, and I struggled in my own head. I lost a lot of friends and isolated myself. I didn't have anyone to rely on. I was no longer that smiling, cheerful kindergarten student. I had let that version of myself down. And yet, she came back. Eventually, I got back up. I reconnected with my old friends and made some new ones. I was succeeding again, but I also struggled with anxiety. I was always a good student, and A's and B's were all I knew. So when it was harder to get those grades, I started to worry and fall apart. It felt impossible. This semester, I started to get more serious about my grades again. I know I can be that A/B student again. I know that I've changed in the last 10 years. I know different people, I do different things. I found what I love about life. I found who in this crazy world understands me. I know more about what I want to do in the future. I've matured, grown up. I've gone from a small, cheerful kindergarten student to a mature, passionate sophomore. Even with everything I've been through, I never lost that good, kind kid inside of me. Throughout these last 10 years, that stuck with me because I never want to be the bad person I could become if I let everything I've gone through get to me. I'll never lose that part of me. 10 years from now, everything will be different again. Who knows where I'll be? Maybe I'll be married or have a family. Or maybe I'll be out there chasing my dreams. I might be an actress or a photographer or a writer or work in the theater. Maybe I'll still be in college, juggling jobs, struggling to get to where I want to go. I hope I keep the friends I have, though, because I can't imagine life without them. And I hope I meet some new people who are just as amazing. I hope I'm successful in whatever career I end up choosing. The only thing I know for certain, I'll still be that good, kind, strong person I am today. It doesn't matter who I end up with or where I go. That little girl, forever in kindergarten, will still be holding my hand, leading me on, and I'll never let her go.
Good afternoon, class. I am Mr. Timon Alensky, but you can just call me Mr. Time. Your teacher instructed me to give you a little history lesson today. Hey, now don't you groan at me. If it was up to me, I'd teach you something useful, like how to smile. You can't see it because of the mask. I'll never become a substitute teacher, kids. Kills all your joy. What was I doing again? Ah, yes, history, right. The first Americans may have arrived as early as 22,000 years ago. Ice Age glaciers had frozen vast quantities of Earth's water, lowering sea levels enough to expose a land bridge between Asia and Alaska. Ancient hunters, blah, blah. Oh, boring. Look, I'm older than all of you by like, 1, 2, get the 5, 7, a lot of years. So I'm gonna tell you how it really happened. From Adam to Eve. Alright, here we go. In the beginning, there was a lot of nothing. And then there was something. Now those smart people, the scientists, they argue about what it could be, but I know exactly what it was. The Earth was just too dang lazy to start having a life. Kinda like my son. As he kept pressing the snooze button. Pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing. And so Pluto the planet and Mickey the planet had to wake it up by throwing meteors at it. Too much? Sorry. I'll skip ahead a little bit. The dinosaurs, those were real, right? Wrong! Dinosaurs never existed and never got hit by a meteor because it was all a cover-up for the Earth so that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders could steal from the 1%. Yes. 1%. Okay, let's skip ahead a little more to our first human. I mean ape. You see, apes got really smart after eating a ton of cookies. And, well, they started crawling and talking, but not full sentences, of course. More like garunk, which meant certain things like, hey, sup, or do you know what happened to all the bananas I was storing in my cave next to the big rock? Oh, and they also made the first movie ever, Planet of the Apes. Needless to say, it was a great time for a lot of the new big places, cities that had sprung up around. Ever heard of Mesopotamia, Norte Chico, or Egypt? Exactly, because none of them exist anymore. Oh, we should take this moment to talk about every single religion ever and how it was made. Hold on. Yes. Oh, hi, Mrs. Schlafler. Oh, yes, we're doing fine, thank you. So funny you mentioned that. You see, I was just about to teach them about religion. Wait, are you sure? Okay. Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. No religion. Got it. Thank you. Bye. Bet she's a communist. Okay, well, we can't talk about religion. Let's skip ahead. Russia, aka the Bird Empire. You see, people were just kind of hanging out one day, eating bread, and I would know. My great uncle on my mother's side, twice removed, well, he was a Persian emperor. Son. Servant. And that's how they became known as Russia. And then you had the Silk Road, a road made entirely of silk and milk. Hey, those rhyme. And then there were some wars, barbarians, more wars, World War I, World War II, World War III, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the British Revolution, the Canadian Resolution. And that brings us to now. Cars, planes, online education. Oh, look at that. Class is almost up. Okay, I guess we have time for a few questions. Yes, Mike. The War of 1812, well, you see, that was actually fought in 1927. Yes, when America sold tons of opium to France, and France got very upset. So upset that they fought a whole war over it. You see, people started calling it the War of 1812 as a joke, the earliest form of your kids' memes, and it stuck. So the War of 1812 was born. All right, we got time for one more question. Yes, Lauren. The Great Depression? Well, that's how happy hour was invented. You see, after World Wars I through VII, people were so sad and depressed that they would do anything to be happy. So President Frank Sinatra issued an executive order of happy hour every day from 11 to 6. He was always considered the greatest president of all time. Oh, all right, well that's the class, everybody. Have a great day. Don't forget about the notes and the test that's next week. All right, have a good weekend. Hello? Hi, Mrs. Schlafler. Oh, yes, we just finished up class. Oh, for sure. Hey, some of them even recorded the whole thing on their phones. Yes, great class. Sure. What did we go over? Just about everything.
I'll tell you right now, life's not going to be perfect. I'll say it again for the people in the back who think that One Direction is going to get back together. Yeah, life's not going to be perfect. I know it's disappointing, but throughout my life, I've searched almost insanely for what I think my perfect is going to be. I can't even say search because I'm still searching, present tense. Every day I pull up my assignment notebook and Google Classroom and the family calendar, and I look at all the different events and activities which are coming up, and I just feel so tired. Not because I have to do all of those things, but because I want to do them. Because I can't let myself sleep if I don't. I can't just be okay with missing a hangout with my friends, but at the same time I also can't be okay with missing the class I would have to miss to go to that hangout. It's gotten to the point where I feel a desperate need and unavoidable guilt if I miss anything at all. I set up 2 different computers with 2 different classes going. I text my friends asking if we can switch to another day, another time. I try desperately to make my life perfect. To make sure I don't miss anything, I don't waste any time, I keep moving, I keep pushing, so that maybe one day I can reach the goal of when I'll be satisfied with my life. Every day my mom asks me what I have to do for the day. And I list all my daily assignments and tell her, oh, the usual. And then she asks me, and then you'll be done for today? And see, some people, when their mom is asking them that, they're asking sarcastically, like, that's it? Nothing else? And don't get me wrong, that's my mom too, but sometimes when my mom is asking, she's really saying, and then you'll be able to take a break, relax with your family, help me do the dishwasher. And every day my answer starts with a sigh. Because if I sit down with my family or go to one of my mom's yoga classes or lay idly on the couch and do nothing, I feel that guilt, which I mentioned earlier. I feel like if I want to be successful, whatever that means, I need to keep moving, keep pushing, keep trying so that maybe one day I'll be able to relax without feeling any guilt. I've coined this idea, this belief that we are always moving to meet our goals, the next best thing. The next best thing I feel is this almost insane mindset most of us have these days where we don't stop, ever. And what makes this even more confusing is that there's no definition or particular amount for how much is enough. It's not like, oh, after this week is over, I can take a break because there's always next week. It's not like, oh, after this semester is done, I can relax because there's always the next thing, whatever that is. And what I admire, quite frankly, are the people who allow themselves the break. Who can say that, yeah, there's going to be a lot of work to do this summer, but at least it'll be summer. At least I can relax for a month or 2 before I get started again. The people who give themselves the gift of time, who aren't always pushing or trying, who are okay with taking a break, reward themselves with a break. Some people say it's good to be hungry, to be standing on your tippy toes, always searching for the next thing, never stopping to really think about what you have. There's a beauty almost in the next best thing. Weeks, months, semesters pass, things are crossed off of checklists, new things are added. A date which marked in the calendar months ago is finally reached, and all of a sudden, it's just a day in the past, and yet, the next best thing is also dangerous. All of that time gone, and how is it even remembered? Weekends mixed into one, photographs which could have come out better, a test score which didn't even impact a grade. Some goals are met, some goals you realize that no matter how hard you try, you just can't achieve them. You don't have the time. And that's when I ask myself, where did all that time really even go? There are thousands of moments, memories, things yet to come, things which have already happened in my life. I know I can't achieve them all, and yet that doesn't stop me from searching for a moment, the moment, where I will be satisfied with my life. It's unrealistic, I know, but still I try desperately to achieve as much as possible, keep pushing so that I can have that moment. But the problem is, I don't know when that moment is. None of us do. I don't know when I'll be able to be satisfied with myself, despite the losses I've faced and the opportunities I've missed. I don't know when I'll be able to relax without thinking about everything I haven't done. Maybe that time is now, maybe it's gone, maybe it's at the end of the week, maybe it's at the end of the month. All I really know is that until that moment comes in my life, all I can do is keep searching for the next best thing.
Let me start by saying I'm sorry. I was scared for a reason larger than you, for a reason larger than both of us. I think there was always a ribbon of fear running through who I was, who we could be, me and you, together. I didn't think us could be a possibility. I didn't even know what us would look like, but you did. You believed. One would have thought it would be terrible, but it wasn't. It was wonderful. It was this. Finally understanding trigonometry after all the hours your too intelligent mind put into helping me with my math homework. We celebrated my passing grades by running down the hallways on the last day of school and almost falling on the slippery linoleum floors. It was this. Eating gelato in the summer city, sitting under a gazebo, my head on your shoulder as we watched the storm, and then me grabbing your hand and running into the storm, mascara dripping down my face as we couldn't stop laughing. It was this. Having sleepovers and talking all night until sunlight started to creep through the windows, softly illuminating our faces in the morning glow. You touched my face. I touched yours. Yes, you were real. I was real. This was all real. It was this and only this. From the moment in time I knew you, I finally started to understand what it meant to be okay. Because of you. Because when I ran, you found me and you brought me home. But a part of us never came back. Our story had ended because of me. Because sometimes when you realize people are broken in certain ways, they can't ever be fixed, and this is something no one ever tells you when you are young. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, God. I was so sorry. I didn't know how much I hurt you when I cut off contact with you for months. I didn't know that you struggled with the idea that somehow this was all your fault. It wasn't. You were just a girl who loved and couldn't be loved back. Vulnerability is a frightening thing. It took from me what I couldn't give to you, and I will spend the rest of my life regretting the power it had over me. You deserved more. You deserve the world. And that is why I'm sorry.
It's so selfish, but you make me feel helpless. Want you 24/7, 'cause it feels like heaven. Going to hell for this, breaking my heart over this. It's so selfish. I want you all to myself. Boys are crying 'cause they don't get the Saturdays. My friends are saying, Kelly, when you gotta take time for yourself. But I don't know how to be myself yet. If loving you the way I do is a sin, send me down the stairwell. The angels did their best, but I can't resist giving all I got to give. It's so selfish. Love is patient, love is kind. It endures the test of time. I've spent 2 years learning about someone else, still barely learn myself. Learning to be patient, learning to be kind. I wanna know what love is. Will you give me your time? If loving you the way I do is a sin, send me down the stairwell. The angels did their best, but I can't resist giving you all I got to give. It's so selfish. It's so selfish, but you make me feel helpless. Want you 24/7, 'cause it feels like heaven. I'm going to hell for this, breaking my heart over this. It's so selfish. I want you all to myself. Call me a sinner for loving you so well. 2 years of you and me, learning how to be. I wanna know what love is. Does that make me selfish?
Unbreakable. I always thought that I was unbreakable, special. I could take on any task or obstacle that came my way. Any test, I could pass it, easy A, 100%. Any assignment, I could do it 10 times better than what was actually required. Any piece, any essay, any project, any task, I could do it. And I could do it well. Straight A student on the path to success, reaching and grasping at the sparkling tips of every star sitting in the sky. I was going to be a star, an artist, a rock star. I had big dreams, and nothing was going to get in my way. High school is an infamous moment in almost every student's life. I was going to be a high schooler, and I was going to do it well. Freshman year, new school, new start, new me. I got good grades for the most part, and like every other student, I struggled, but it was manageable, right?
Sophomore year rolled around and there I was, ready to take on any task that came my way. It started out all right, but that's when it started to happen. F's. 62%, 52%, 43%, 14% personal record. I was failing, and I was failing hard. I even dropped out of my only honors class halfway through the school year. Those dreams that I had as a child felt like they were slowly slipping through the crevices, melting and dripping down my fingertips. I could no longer reach for those stars that I would cast dreamy eyes upon as a child. Junior year. Probably one of the worst years of my life, and the worst grades, and the most reckless decisions. I didn't feel like a star. I didn't feel like a good student or a good daughter. I didn't feel worth it. I did not feel unbreakable. I remember driving. It was late. I was going down 95th. It was probably around 9:30. I was coming back from a friend's house. And I remember stopping at a red light and seeing 3 new notifications pop up on my phone. 0 out of 20 on math assignment. Can't wait to explain that one to my parents. The drive home was unbearable. It felt empty and devoid, and I knew what was coming. I had been running from my parents, running from my friends, from school, from grades, from my feelings. I forced anything that wasn't happiness down, and I forced myself to forget the weight of all the things that I was doing wrong. And when I got home, I didn't want to get out of the car. Part of me wanted to rev up the engine and drive off the face of the planet, never to be seen again. I remember stepping into the house and the desolate feeling that engulfed me. It was like stepping back into reality. A reality that I wasn't ready to face. Hey Zoya, explain these missing assignments. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm trying my best. That night, I felt a feeling that I will never forget. I would wither and wince in pain. I felt breakable. And I didn't like it. I wasn't supposed to be breakable. I was supposed to be a good student who got good grades and made the right choices and knew what they were doing, but there I was, lying on the bathroom floor, pretty dramatic, right? Wallowing away in my misery. Misery. That's what I felt. A feeling that ate its way into my stomach, building what felt like a permanent home, constantly toying with the strings in my brain, crushing me. The days would go by and time started to melt together, and I no longer registered what was going on around me. I felt more than breakable, and as edgy as this may sound, I felt broken. Broken beyond repair. I couldn't even recognize the pieces of me scattered across the floor. And as the days would pass, I started to slowly forget who I was. I still remember my father's words. They stuck to me like glue. implanted into my brain forever. I miss my little girl. Don't worry, we'll get her back. I don't know what it was, but hearing those words snake out of my father's mouth made me angry. You miss your little girl? Well, guess what? She's never coming back. I remember that night. I lie awake staring emptily at the ceiling. I had created this false reality where there were no limits. No grades, no school, no parents, no nothing. I could do whatever I wanted, and everything that was happening around me didn't matter. That wasn't the real world now, was it? I miss my little girl. Those words, they echoed over and over. I miss my little girl. Well, guess what? I told you, she's never coming back. I miss my little girl. I miss her too. I miss her smile and I miss her drive. I miss her will and her motivation. I miss her ability to overachieve and do whatever makes her happy. I miss her ability to always let the real her shine through. The real me. It was time to get her back. Self-love. I had to teach myself how to love me again, even if I thought the new breakable me wasn't lovable. I had to learn how to pick up the pieces and put them back together, except this time I wasn't trying to get the old me back. I was learning to love and accept the new me and grow. I was accepting what it was like to be breakable. And being breakable is okay.
Wake up, eat, watch TV, sleep. An endless cycle. They tell me to be more productive, but what am I supposed to produce when I can't even leave the house? Wake up, eat, scroll through social media, sleep. Stuck in the same room for months with so many games and toys, yet I don't even want to get out of bed. Wake up, eat, e-learn, sleep. They tell me to limit my screen time, but how am I supposed to abstain when school only exists online? 2 weeks. 2 weeks, they said. 2 weeks? Then we will be back at school, learning like usual. Well, 2 weeks became 1 month, and 1 month became the rest of middle school and half of the first year of high school. The longer I remain inside, the longer I feel distant from reality, like Rapunzel stuck in a tower, like falling in a tunnel yearning for escape, but unable to see any light. When can I go to the store or to school or on a plane or to hang out with friends or to see and hug my grandparents again? When is this all going to end? Suddenly, the light at the end of the tunnel begins to appear, slowly but surely. I should be happy, but I'm not. Am I ready to return back to school? All this time I've spent hoping and praying to return back to normal life, and now that it's here, I'm not ready? Now I sometimes fear what I wanted most: interaction. Depression, anxiety, social anxiety, OCD, all outcomes of being stuck in between 4 painted walls. I used to not care how I walked or talked or even sat, but now I pay close attention to all of these things. I'm afraid of being laughed at or mocked by anyone. Maybe I'm overthinking, but that's what isolation for months has done to my brain. My family and I may have been able to avoid physical sickness. I may have never gotten the infectious disease, But that doesn't mean that I can pretend that I'm totally fine. Now I have to face a different battle. I have to fight the fear inside of me as an outcome of these past 10 months. But I am fighting, along with everyone else going through the same experience. It's hard to try and unify as students considering we are only together through tiny boxes on a Zoom call for hours upon hours. But I now know that there is a lesson to be learned from quarantine. How to be alone.
So our English teacher recommended us for the monologue show.
I heard.
Well, what do you think?
I don't think it's a good idea.
Why not? It'd be fun.
Fun? Is that all you can say? Look, you always do this. We can't keep doing this. The monologue show has an audition for a reason. You want to stand up there in front of a teacher and what? Forget our lines? Sound like a robot? Is that what you want? And let's say we do get in. What then? We want to stand up there in front of our peers and recite a memorized story or poem, which we won't be able to do. Having considered the fact that once our peers see how much of a failure our performances will be ostracized, for not doing it, it's better to be safe than sorry.
But this time it's different. Someone specifically told us they believe in us.
So what?
So what? Is that all you can say?
Look, listen to what I'm saying.
No, listen to what I'm saying. We've always done it your way. You've always been holding us back in Alan's best interest. You keep saying you're keeping us safe. You're really taking the easy way out. What do you want? Do you want to ignore our friends until they abandon us? You say you don't want our friends to ostracize us, and yet you separate us from them at every opportunity. You say you don't want to humiliate ourselves. You say we have people relying on us. And yet, when we get in front of a crowd, you're the one who shuts down. So Kavisak, what do you really want?
Look, it doesn't matter, okay? I hold more sway over Alan than you do, and we're not doing it. Look, maybe I can compromise in other ways, but we can't start with this.
In for a penny, in for a pound, I don't care. Hello, my name is Alan, and for my audition today, I will be doing...
When I open my eyes, I see myself in a magnificent room, full of beaming lights and rounded tables of an Oscar award ceremony. I'm here with my brown-skinned and dark-skinned friends because I was nominated for Best Director of the Year. My movie was about two girls who looked like them in an island fighting to survive. It demonstrated vulnerability, wit, and so many layers that Black characters were deprived of, and so many complexities that Black characters were never able to express like their whiter counterparts. Viola Davis says my name with such praise before I knew it, and my heart stopped in the midst of my reaction. Tears rolled down my face as I walk up to the stage, and I'm thinking countless times to the people who have got me here where I am today. My family, my colleagues, my cast and crew to help me release this movie despite Hollywood not wanting me, despite Hollywood not liking the stories that I want my stories to be. I hold this Oscar in my cold, numb hands and so ready to put it on my bookmark shelf. But when I reopen my eyes, I'm slumped in my bed, filled with intrusive thoughts, psychoanalyzing how people who don't look like me will see me as, whether I am too intimidating, outspoken, as if I did something wrong. I'm automatically taught that my presence, my space, is too much of a waste. I am taught that my emotions are a threat, that my skin is a threat already, and that I can never be able to express what I need to express because of how society will view it. My emotions are monstrous and are not to be seen. I'm supposed to be in the sidelines. I'm supposed to play the mammy trope. Be aside my white friends and not say anything. Because that's how society wants me to be. So much of media has a huge influence on how people see Black people and Black women. That's why so many people are scared of what I have to say, is if I'm being too dramatic or I'm being too sensitive, that I should be put aside. And it really hurts. And I don't want to live that way. And close my eyes again and to erase any of those thoughts and get back to my daydreaming. When I open my eyes again, I see myself writing for multimedia networks like Complex, podcasts discussing mental health and disabilities within Black communities. I asked my guests why it is so important to talk about OCD, ADHD, autism, anxiety, depression, BDD, and so many other illnesses and disabilities that some people don't even think we have or people mistake as. There are Black disabled people out there. There are Black people with mental illnesses who are struggling. And I finally see myself being able to grab a mic and talk to people about it and make a huge effect. I smile every single time I conclude my show. Very thankful and proud of myself for my work and what I've done. After I'm finished, I go to my therapist every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. And so someone I could talk all of my emotions and share my healthy coping mechanisms with. And so many healthy coping mechanisms with. But most importantly, the most essential part is that I'm seen as a human being. I'm respected. I'm accepted. People are rooting for me. People see me as me. Black children, Black boys, so many Black people and Black children get to see a wonderful Black woman who's a wonderful superhero. Black people as main characters. And people are not afraid. My existence is special. My existence is seen and respected and loved, which, trust me, from one Black woman and one Black person to another is something we all wish that we could have. And we will aspire to have. Hopefully, I will eventually be able to be in a world or exist in a world that makes me feel like I never have to close my eyes again.
Dear friend, it strikes me that Anne Shirley Cuthbert's work was never measured by what she was good at. She wasn't a cook or a wife or a writer, though that is what she chose to do later on as a job. Taylor Swift isn't a poet because she writes music, because she's artist of the decade. She just is. She's larger than life in all her songs put together. Anne Shirley Cuthbert isn't a poet because she writes. She just is. Maybe you and I could be poets someday and go to the lakes where they all went to die. And we can shed our titles and our labels. We can go and just be. I can lay down on the ground and let time cover my eyes with moss until I am the roses that I love so dearly. I'm afraid to grow up because I'm afraid to let go. I'm afraid that I won't live up to the promises I made myself, to be an adventurer, to be brave, to be strong. I'm afraid that I'm not a poet, that I'm nothing but romantic words written on a piece of paper by a breathless teenager who aimed higher than she needed to at life, at magic. You are a poet. I can see it in the way that you smile at sunshine, the way that you hum your words, the way you hold your books. I can see it in the way that art clings to you. Paint on your cheeks, ink in your margins, with tired, broken humans leaning on you for strength. I can see it in the way that you write, curved letters on dollar store paper, and I can see it in the way you hold your heart to your chest as if you're afraid it'll run away from you again. You are a poet. I'm afraid to put my dreams into cardboard boxes, tape them shut, shove them in my bedroom closet, and run away so that I never have to see them again because I haven't gotten the chance to do the things I told myself I would do at 17. Heck, I haven't even done the things I told myself I would do at 16. And what's a poet?
that doesn't live. What's a storyteller with no stories to tell? What's a book without an adventure? I'm afraid that when I looked you in the eyes 5 years in the future, you would have let all the beauty inside you wither and die. I'm afraid that you won't write if nobody reminds you to. Dear friend, don't. Don't stop being a poet. Don't stop looking at the world like it's all one big story with chapters that you've named after your favorite flowers, because you are everything you have ever wanted to be. Just because there's a computer on your desk doesn't mean you have to keep your doors shut. You don't need a notebook to be a poet. You already are.